All right. Let's see what we can get done today. It's late, and I've already worked more than I should today, so I don't know how much we will get done. We'll give it a go. What is this? This is video game development. Yes. Where was I? Effects. I was doing something. Let's see what the notes say. Spells need to have the caster added to the combat sequence properly. Spells need their component added to the combat sequence object list to render properly. Barrier does not play properly and skips to the next turn immediately. No, this is another engine, or this is another game. This is an RPG called Legends of Terrestria that I am working on. And that doesn't even cast. Oh, shit. It's all broken. So what is the issue? Action database. So we have two different actions called barrier. We have priest barrier and Templar barrier. I don't know what it might be missing, really. Gonna go through it real quick. Damage type none, target team ally. What is this? This is a spell. This is blast. Is instant spell. I don't know there's the action length. Execute spell. Stored source effect. Choose that instead there. That. And this is a position, and this is an object as target. Targeted objects.add. We're initializing it, or we're triggering immediately. I don't think I really want to do that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the reason for why I've done that. I mean, yeah, no, maybe not. Maybe that's fine. Because the spell is supposed to be cast at a certain point in the casting animation, and then this triggers and that applies the barrier. But the barrier could still be applied in the middle of the barrier animation, but it doesn't really matter that much. That's all fine. End behavior. I'm not running end behavior here. Is there a reason for that? Yeah, it's a little strange. Because I feel like here it says end has ended. I feel like this should just be end behavior, right? But I also feel like I should end the behavior of the other thing in here too. But this isn't the current issue. The current issue has to do with how the combat sequence is progressing. Because here it says combat sequence objects. We add the current unit. Spell casting finish. Combat phase set to execution. And then combat phase execution is exit phase equals true. We're checking... we're checking all the objects in the combat sequence. But I feel like... I feel like I shouldn't need to do this, but this is still fine. I feel like they should just be removed from the combat sequence objects, which should then just naturally make this progress. So here we have an is idle. That should be handling this. So why is it skipping past it all? Like, see, it skips right past all of it to over here, which doesn't make any sense. Unit is casting and turn. What is this? End turn. End turn. Yeah, so somehow here, this is getting just completely skipped. Why is that? Is the casting animation counting as an idle? The middle part of it might actually count, but I feel like she's not even getting there. No, it's immediate. We have 0 objects in here. Action execution. So this has something to do with yeah, let's just turn that off. It has something to do with the way things progress here. Action initialization. What I find odd is that this spell doesn't have a spell casting period. It's an instant spell. So here we've got use casting animation. And otherwise it says else, and it just immediately adds it. So I'm just super confused. Let's start here, I guess. Maybe we'll see what's happening. So we're here, right? And where are we going then? It could have used casting animation set to true. It does. Hmm. But then, look. I think we just need to do this. Because now we're in casting, right? If this is where we need to go, instant spell. This needs to add this to the combat sequence objects. Because here we do spell casting init. That starts up the casting animation. Man, video games are so fucking complicated, dude. Oh my god. And I can't even drink coffee. And then we go into here. No, we go into here. And now we're doing that instead. It's bugged now. Like, there's no reason to continue. It's not showing the correct lines. Let's see what that does. I don't know if it will properly handle itself, like removing itself from the combat sequence, but we'll see. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly how it should work. That was weird. Which means is it in the effect? It's here somewhere. Where is it? Here. Here we're doing destroy effect. But that shouldn't do anything. Like, what? That's so weird. No, 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 no. Checking the combat sequence objects list to see if it contains targeted object target there. And if it doesn't, then we add, otherwise we're doubling it up. But that's still weird, because that shouldn't really do anything. Right? Because this plays out instantaneously. We destroy the previous barrier. And then the effect plays out. And here, this is where it might do something. Spell sequence end time. Hmm. There's gotta be something like... No? Hmm. So weird. Because it's got a spell sequence end time, right? That makes sense to me. And then here we destroy the barrier. But what I don't understand is... Let's look again. Right? It dims before we have even destroyed the old one. Where the hell is that happening? It's like before this even happens. So... the spell is adding me... Huh? I mean, it's gotta be there or something. I don't get it. That starts all the way here, right? So it does that. Spellcasting state dot end. Combat phase set action execution. It's gonna be like, because the spell is executed somewhere, right? And that's in here, execute spell. But is it really here somewhere? Can't believe that. Execute spell. The execute spell of Templar Barrier. Down here. Base execute. Stored source object equals base object. Targeted objects dot clear. It's not doing anything here. Oh, what is happening? I have another idea. If we go here, we then have this combat sequence objects, right? And I feel like that's where the issue is, because that's the only thing that causes the objects. Oh. To be brightened during combat. Destroy OS, combat sequence objects, remove this. Yeah, that's fine. Dot clear. Action initialization. But I think it goes here, right? Like we don't do this down here. It does use casting animation, so we go to dot casting. here. Doesn't make any sense. Does it? Wait a second. What does it actually look like? What is the actual problem here? I mean, I think Rhea also becomes darkened, right? Yeah. So that's not the problem either. Though it kind of is, I think. But not really. Because it's what's weird is that it only happens on the recast. So, like, what is going on there? It's so strange. And it happens several seconds in. I don't even understand when it happens. What is this? I think it has something to do with the loop. Because the loop portion here doesn't, like, I think that counts as an idle. And then it's somehow doing this shit. That makes sense to me. So here, if exit phase equals true, then let's break there. But why does it not happen the first time? It's not that either. What the fuck? I'm just gonna have to do this, man. Every single clear. Because I think it's probably one of the clears. Because I'm not doing a whole lot of removes that might be causing this, so I'm unsure. What's happening? Here. It's doing end turn here. It shouldn't do that. Why is it doing end turn? What does it say here? so weird. Oh my god. What is the problem? It's really hard to step through this because it takes place over a bunch of frames. So it's like, am I gonna step through like 500 frames to figure out where the hell this is happening? Because I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Ugh. This is such bullshit. Hey. So it's got something to do with how we progress through here. Right? So here we are. We're going through here. Combat phase set casting. Right? So we go here. Go down here to else because we're not setting spell to cast. I think. So we go down here. Use cast animation. And then it goes here to action execution. This is another one of those things that's just... It's just way too complicated right now, in my opinion. But it's not so freaking easy to create a good transition through here. Because here, what's happening, I think, is the exit phase. But... is it? I don't know that it is. Because it didn't... like, I feel like I tried before. Right? No end turn there. No end turn there. So what was actually happening was that we were triggering end turn for it to, when it's decided to skip to the next turn, which shouldn't end before everything here is done. Actually, I think I know what's happening. I mean, kind of, not kind of, not really. Because what doesn't make sense is that it becomes dark before any of this happens, right? So that means... I mean... What if we say... Because this isn't triggering, right? This is just some bullshit. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, there are two. There are two. You fucking sneaky bastard. If X face equals true. Okay. Maybe it is here after all, but so weird. Because here it runs fine, right? And then we get to exit phase here. And this is correct. That's fine. But then here... we get here now. Why? Oh, wait. No, not really. It's... 'Cause look, it's the execute spell. Here's where we start effect. But this effect is still there. Okay, you know what? Debug.log. Execute spell barrier. And... debug.log. Barrier init. Barrier effect init. Because it's not actually that we're reaching end turn. For whatever reason, we're reaching end turn when we shouldn't. So what's going on? I wonder if it's something like... Because the action is idle. Ria. Combat casting. I think it might have something to do with this. But it doesn't really make sense anyway. Because look, here we say loop equals true, right? And here we say if loop user.action module dot is idle equals true, right? And that's what we're doing here. But it doesn't make any sense, because what's happening isn't that this is going into exit phase. What's happening is that combat sequence objects is empty here. Right? Like the effect's empty, combat sequence objects empty. And that doesn't make any sense. Where the fuck is that happening? We have to do this again. Oh. Here. Dude, what the fuck? Uh... Oh. I don't know if I can do this tonight. I'm too tired. This is too fucking. This is just bullshit. I genuinely don't understand what's happening right now, because look, I'm clearing the combat sequence object here. We add the current turn.unit. Spell casting finish. Set the action to loop to be false, which doesn't really help, I think, by the way, but we set the lerp, go to action execution. We clear the current targets, who cares? This is not even used anymore. See here, it's all good. Like, the character is in the loop. When we update, what do you think happens in the other object list? Holy shit. Yeah. Nothing's happening there. So it's not the same frame. Like, it's pausing pretty much immediately, but I'm pretty sure it is pausing on the frame after, right? And here, the character has already been removed from the combat sequence, which, like, which doesn't make any sense. Like, every clear is marked, right? So how are they removed? You know, this is the only thing otherwise that I'm doing, and this is for destroying the object. There it is, dude. There it is, maybe. I think that's it. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Oh. Oh. That doesn't make any sense. Look. It's so strange. How is this possible? How do I find the invoke? But See, this is what's so fucking weird. Because this spell here is it's triggering the delete inside of the spell effect. The spell effect has already played. So how is this playing again? I don't understand where this comes from. Like... Like, I'm not trying to end it this way. Because look, what's weird is that the effect here, it only plays the effect. Right? And if the effect hasn't been spawned yet, then how can it play? Because we have like a startup delay here is enabled. Because if it's enabled, then it's playing. Because the barrier here, it has a spell sequence end time, which is 70F. That's 4 seconds. And now, afterwards, we get to execute spell. But you see, here... What? How? See, here it's already darkened. And here we're doing all this stuff, right? Invoking the effect here. And this is where that should happen. Running all of this stuff. This is the base, by the way. This is base effect. And now we run the barrier. We set all of this. So at this point in the game, active effect list equals 1. Combat sequence effects. Count to 0 right now. This is some freak shit, man. Because, like, look. Not so sure the combat effect list is available here. We have combat sequence effects. Yeah, this is empty. Yeah, like... Now it's 0. It went up to 3. And now it's 0. And here, like, I start casting 1, then 0, then 3. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. Because the effect update plays all the time, right? Yeah, it just runs. It just runs here, it plays. Like, it could be this. It could be through this that it becomes slated to be deleted. But why would it do that? Don't understand. See, what is this? Oh, wait, huh? Oh, I think I understand. Oh. Oh my god. And then we go in here and we say is persistent equals true. Oh, fuck me, man. Basically, what was happening was that I had very specific cases for when the effect was supposed to remove itself. And in this case, the barrier removes itself from the list of... It removes itself from the list of effects, and it removes the effect objects, and it removes the target and the caster, all from the combat sequence lists when it reaches a certain time threshold. But because it's persistent, this was in the play effect method, or in the function. And what that meant was that this only ran when init lerp dim was false. Which meant that as we started casting, init lerp dim got set to true. And that meant that the background starts to dim. But when that finishes, it gets set to false. And at that point, the previous version of the effect has already played out. So all of its variables are maxed. Like, it's already like, its current time is super high or whatever. And because of that, the second the lerp dim became false, it would just remove itself and everything it was targeting from the effect list. And that included the current caster. And then they got removed, and then because they got removed, end turn runs, and then eventually the casting animation finishes casting the spell, and then it gets added back. So what I did was I added like a toggle for it to only be able to do this once, because it should only be able to do this once. That's the initial casting function. Now it works. Oh. Alright, that's a short stream, but that's it for today. I can't do anymore. That was way too hard. Holy hell. Alright. But we solved it. That's what counts. Anyway, until next time, have a good night. Bye-bye.